Urgent security updates have been around since the internet began. As a kid, I remember surfing with my Windows 98 or Windows XP and seeing all these different updates. So I became very accustomed to seeing these. Nowadays, we don't even really think about that. We don't have to restart our computers or wait for anything like that. It automatically happens most of the time when we're sleeping, such as the iOS updates or what Windows is currently doing, and it normally happens without us having to do anything. However, recently, a lot of attention has been given to these security updates with these critical flaws in platforms, especially related to NFTs, and a lot of scams are now surrounding them. So today we're going to discuss the scam that is causing a lot of people to lose their NFTs in crypto and how you can avoid it. Hello, I'm Taj, digitally known as Tropic Vibes, the host of Nifty Business, where we highlight NFTs and explore Web 3.0 as we move from pure speculation to creating real-world value. So these scammers are getting better now. Of course, we are used to the whole aspect of just not sharing your seed phrase or your recovery phrase with anyone. So now they're getting a little bit more creative. It's no longer just clicking a link that leads to a website that is asked for your recovery phrase or your seed phrase. Now they're doing all sorts of different things that really mask themselves and disguise themselves as being legitimate. We've been in this space for the most part for almost 2 years at this point because NFTs really went mainstream in 2021. So it's safe to say that anyone that has been in the space for more than about 6 months or so has understood the value of these security phrases. Multiple times we've seen these hacks and so forth, and even with the links. We hear all the stories, the horror stories of people clicking links that lead to something that causes them to lose everything. So now we're very wary about all of that. However, late, I'm seeing a lot of people lose by having these phishing scams that are masked as security updates. If you're not sure what I'm talking about is if you've ever been on Twitter or any of those platforms where you're seeing a video of someone saying that there's new security breaches that have been discovered and how to fix it, especially when it comes to platforms such as OpenSea and any really major platform in Web3 where you're going to sign in with your wallet, that is what they're targeting. But I use OpenSea because that is the most popular one that I'm constantly seeing. So this video is usually a screenshot or a screen recording explaining how this whole insecurity works, how you're vulnerable, and of course they're going to highlight the fact that hackers are using this to get access to all of your assets, and it is very imperative that you urgently update to protect yourself from being scammed. Now, what they don't mention, of course, is that this is actually a scam. What they'll then put is a link that leads to something that looks exactly like OpenSea. This is what we call a phishing website, and the only intention of this is to look exactly like OpenSea so that way you sign in, do your transactions, do whatever it is that it's requiring you to do. You think that you're on OpenSea, but of course you're not. And now this is something that has been around for a while, especially with mint pages when they're going to do a pasty mint that looks exactly like the real project, except there's something like a hyphen, a dash, a number, underscore, something of that nature that's going to make people sign away everything and lose everything with that transaction. They thought they were going to get an NFT, but in reality, all they did was get scammed. Well, the same thing is happening here. They're masking this as the security update itself, but when you look at the URL, you look at all the information, you'll notice that it is not the correct URL. And the whole thing is really built on the fact that they are playing on people's emotions. Now, usually when we talk about FOMO, the fear of missing out, we're talking about people that are pressuring you into buying NFTs at the top of the market, or maybe you're an influencer in the room and saying, this is a great buy, you should absolutely buy this. And then they're hiding the fact that this is their actual NFT in their second, third, or fourth wallet, and they're not claiming it, and they're just pretending that it is somebody else that had listed it, and they're trying to convince you to be that exit liquidity, meaning that they're trying to get you to purchase from them, but they're pretending to be a neutral third party that's looking out for your best interest, but in reality, they're just looking out for theirs. Well, social engineering could be used to really affect people do anything for that matter, and using this with FOMO, the fear of missing out, is how they're doing this with this critical update or whatever they want to call it, to get people to sign on to these things. Because if they're telling you that people are losing their assets left and right, and that just sounds funny, losing their assets, but they're going to tell you to hurry up and do this. And of course, people that have worked hard to get whatever NFTs and crypto it is, most likely they're using this from funds from their day job. And this is not like money that they could just throw away. And even if that is the case, you do have a lot of expendable income and it's just play money for you. Still, nobody wants to lose money. So when you hear critical update, do this as quick as possible or else you're vulnerable vulnerable, a lot of people are not even going to take the time to second guess this or do their own diligence and look for a second opinion or really do their research. They're just going to go and do exactly what it says quickly because they, in that video, have showed you how people are being quote unquote scammed, and you don't want to be the next person. So you just click it, go to it, not really following all the information. And that is FOMO at its best. They socially engineered the fact that all of these elements were put in. Maybe they even used other people to have comments or giving input to make it look like, oh, thank you very much. This really saved me a lot of money and time. And I just really appreciate the fact that your instructions were so clear. All of those different things. It's just setting up at least one person to fall for this. Now, they're doing this at scale. They're using social media and whatever platform to just send this to hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people. And even if 1% of 1% fall for it, they have a lot to gain. But I put out a tweet the other day that really says nothing good ever really comes from someone putting you into high pressure situations where it's like act now or you're going to lose. I mean, maybe 1 in 100, you might find some great deal that you would have totally missed out on if you did not act at that exact moment. But more often than not, I can think of countless people that have been put in that situation and they live to regret it. And that usually is the case. So if 99% of the time you are put in a position where someone is saying either mint now or sign this transaction now or whatever it is, or something bad is going to happen to your assets and you ignore it, it might be a scary thought. However, on the flip side, knowing that 99% of the time, if you take advice and you do it, you're probably going to lose, it doesn't look so attractive anymore, is it? Because the last thing they want you to do is to ask a friend with more experience to say, hey, have you heard about this? Is this legitimate? Do you think this is a good idea? Should I follow these directions or anything of that nature? No, they don't want you to do that. They want you to see it, panic, and act instantly. So how do you protect yourself from these scams? If you do see it, they're becoming much more polished in the way they're doing their presentation. They're putting up these videos, even from accounts that look exactly like OpenSea or whatever platform that they're trying to hack. Because what they're actually doing now is, it's really sophisticated, is they're getting access to these blue check mark accounts on Twitter. So these might be journalists or someone who has another profession or whatever it is, and they were verified on Twitter in the past. Now they're buying these accounts on the black market. So here we go. You have a blue check mark account saying that they're OpenSea or whichever platform it might be, Magic Eden or any Web3 platform for that matter. And they're saying that, look, this is a security update. We highly apologize. Our customer service team is working on this very quickly. Please follow this information. So an unsuspecting person will say, oh my gosh, this is the legitimate page. They have a blue check mark. Everything is verified. This is really someone from their team. And they're just going to follow that. However, the best thing to do is to go to the official website. You know that is OpenSea, Magic Eden, or whatever it is. Look to see if there's any announcements, anything of that nature, and then go to their official Twitter profile. Because if there's something so urgent, so massive that is just out there, it is going to be all over the place. And as a last resort, if you really want to make sure, which, you know, it could be a dangerous alley to go down. However, it's just one extra step that you could possibly do is go to Google and type that in. OpenSea security update, Magic Eden security flaw, something of that nature. Because if there is some massive fraud that is being exposed or some hole or loophole, guess what's going to happen? People such as myself who have podcasts, people that have blogs, people that have YouTube channels, they're going to create content about it. And if there's some massive security flaw that is out there and people are losing money left and right, and it's not showing up anywhere in Google searches or YouTube searches or anywhere, well, most likely it is some sort of fraud. And they're simply playing on FOMO, or I should say in this case, it's not really the fear of missing out, it's the fear of losing it all. And I guess that'd be FOLIA, folia. I mean, I guess that's probably not an acronym that's going to catch on or anything, but definitely they're playing on that emotion. Someone that just does not want to lose it all, and they're going to panic, and they're not going to do their due diligence, their research. They see a blue check mark, and boom, they're off to the races, signing everything over. And by the time their wallet is being drained, all their NFTs and crypto are flowing away. At that point, they're going to realize, you know what? Maybe I should do a little bit more research. But at that point, it is too late. So hopefully hearing this will just give you something that you can look out for, and just know that they're getting much more sophisticated, much more advanced in how they're doing these different things. So be careful out there and don't let anyone pressure you into doing anything, even if it looks like a security update. But I'd love to know what sort of scam or something that is prevalent that you're seeing pop up a lot more now than you were before. Please feel free to reach out to me at Tropic Vibes on Twitter or using the contact information in the show notes. I would absolutely appreciate it to have any kind of updates that I could share with the community, the people that listen to this, whether it be via the newsletter or another podcast episode. But as usual, I just want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this as we're learning and building Web3 together. So until next time, later. The Nifty Business Show is not investment advice. It provides insights and information within the space. As with anything, please do your own research before making a decision whether you're making an investment or a purchase.